Hi, welcome to new episodes of Marketing Funnels with Nipun Syal. So today we have with us Molly Mahoney. Hi Molly, welcome to our show.
Hey, I'm so glad to be here. I've really been looking forward to this conversation.
So I just want to start from your musical theater career, like what exactly it was. So I just want to know more about that, not about the AI Molly we'll talk about, but how you transitioned and what was that?
Yeah, so I started as a professional musical theater performer. I did shows locally here in Southern California, and then I ended up actually getting cast as I don't talk about this all that often, but as a singing, dancing cocktail server in Vegas. So I
Okay.
did that. And kids, it was like in the middle of the Rio casino. So like kids were around and stuff, but I would sing like the something to talk about, the Bonnie Raitt song. I would sing that. And then I had 3 dances that I did while I was also a waitress. Then that company pulled me out of my contract and I ended up going and singing on a cruise ship. So my obsession with cruises started a very long time ago. And I was a singer on Celebrity Cruises. And when I finished that contract, it was 6 months. It was awesome and wild. I ended up moving to New York. So I lived in New York for about 8 years and I did shows all over the world. I also, in between shows, worked at Ellen's Stardust Diner, which is usually the thing that most people are like, oh, what? That's amazing, which is so funny. But it's a restaurant on Broadway with singing waiters. I did that. I met amazing people there. And the final really big thing that I did was I did the national tour of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the musical. And so like most people, I love that movie and I love Dick Van Dyke. I got to meet the Richard Sherman of the Sherman Brothers who wrote it. I got to do a movie with Dick Van Dyke later because of that experience on tour. Just so many really fun, awesome things because of that. And when we were coming to the end of the tour, I had started, this is very weird, but I had started a knitting and crocheting like accessory business because I would just knit and crochet backstage everywhere that we went. And I decided, I loved performing. I had done some really amazing big things and I really didn't want to pursue that anymore. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I had sold some patterns to Red Heart Yarn. And so I knew there were a lot of other opportunities. And so I got engaged while I was on the road. My husband and I decided we were going to move back to California to get married. And I started this wild company called The Prepared Performer, where I was actually teaching singing lessons and offering career coaching for performers. And then the story of how I switched, I can tell you, but that's like how we started.
Okay, so people who are watching this will think that it's like a overnight success, but I just want to go to that part of the failure, like when you are like working at Vegas. So what are the learnings which transform your mindset right
Yeah,
now? Because
man.
yeah,
Yeah, there
I
were
want
so
to.
many. And there was one huge failure that I will share because it really shifted everything. And it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. And I love finding moments where things go wrong. And then I have this really funny framework that I use. It's called the method. So it helps if you use your hand. Like if you're just listening to this, what I'm doing like a little zip it kind of movement with my hand. But if you go like that, it's FFTT. And it is when something bad happens, you face it like, ooh, this bad thing happens. Then you feel it like this doesn't feel good that this bad thing happened. Then the T is that you twist it. And so you ask yourself, how can I make this a positive? How can I make this a positive? How can I make this a positive? And then the final thing is you thank it. And that's where you're like, I'm so glad this thing that seemed quote unquote bad happened because it was actually happening for me, which is awesome. So some examples of that. There was an audition that I went to once. When you first start auditioning in New York, if you're not a member of the Actors Equity Union, which is called Equity, if you're not a union member, you don't have a union card, is how they say it, then you're not actually allowed into the building where the audition is happening. So you'll sit in the hallway, like literally sitting like down the stairwell in the
Okay.
hallway waiting for the chance to get into this room. And there was this audition where I had been there for, I don't know, 3 hours. And I went up to the woman at the front desk and I said, hey, I'm here for the audition. I know we're not seeing non-union members yet, but I'm here and waiting for that chance. Is there a restroom that you can point me to? And she said, do you have a union card? And I said, no, but I'm here for the audition. And she said, great. You can go down the stairs around the corner. There's a McDonald's in Times Square. And I was like, wait a minute, because I don't know if you've been to New York or in Times
I
Square,
am
but
in
that
New York right now.
Oh, are you? Oh my gosh, no
I'm an
wonder.
egg. Yeah,
Okay.
that's quite recall. Yesterday I was going through that McD Times Square. It just it was like deja vu.
That is amazing. And I've actually
Yeah.
since taken pictures in front of it because I think it was such a big moment for me. And
Yeah.
I Times Square has cleaned up a lot since then because now they've blocked it off, so they have lots of like seating and things in Times Square. But at the time,
Yeah.
that McDonald's was like drug central.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is not what I need to be doing with my life. What is
Mm.
happening right
Yeah.
now? And I decided to leave the audition. It's one of the only times I've left, but it was a 30-minute walk to my apartment. And I walked home and I was like, this is not the right energy to be bringing into these opportunities. Like I was coming into these auditions feeling like, please give me a job, please give me a job, please give me a job, rather than going in and being like, this is me. Here's my freak flag. If you want this
Yeah.
weirdo in your show, I'm here to help. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a totally different type of energy. That energy, I created a strategy called the quesadilla of awesome in that moment where I decided I was going to focus on the things that made me uniquely different and weird. And that's still the foundational strategy we teach all of our clients. So they know how to show up and sit in their true awesome rather than trying to pretend to be something that they're not.
That's really amazing. And like, I just want to add something over here. Lots of time when people talk and when somebody is depressed, our words generally matter. And when you call your friend and they come up with the more depressed part, then you think that their life is more worse than that. We are happy. But I like how you use the words, like the failure with the connecting. It's like an opportunity. It's like a new thing. It's like a good thing happened to me,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
really matter, and that's what I see like so good from your t-shirts also, like, so everything is positive around you, and if you are positive, everything will be positive. So there will be some time, like just like you share your story, the pivoting towards AI, like how that journey happened, like, and I
Yeah.
still see you on the stages and you are singing, and I love the vibe, because everybody's over there, people don't want to educate only, they want to entertain also, then only they will listen to you.
Yeah.
So I want to know about
So
this.
the way thank you. The way that
Yeah.
transition happened is really in 2016 when Facebook Live came out, right before Facebook Live came out. So I launched my company in 2013. When right before Facebook Live came out, I decided I wanted to try and shift a little bit because I was pretty much known locally as one of the top singing teachers. I had a Broadway themed open mic night. So I was hosting an event every month. It was great. But I had hit a point where I couldn't scale. So I was listening to Pat Flynn like
Yeah.
religiously, loved him. And I decided that I was going to, instead of just teaching performers how to perform, I was going to teach them how to launch their own businesses. And I created a course called Prepared Performer Profits. And I did not do any sort of like founding member rate as the course was just being created and then roll it out. Instead, I created all 6 videos that was like 6 long videos, and I tried to sell it. And I did sell. I did do a beta test, and I sold a few spots in that. But then when I moved it to the final real version, we had 0 sales, like actually 0. And I remember I was actually in New York. I had gone back. Hamilton had just opened, and I had a friend that got tickets to the original cast of Hamilton on Broadway. It was absolutely amazing. And I remember sitting in this coffee shop down in Chelsea, and I was like, this is it. Either I just give everything up because this has gone so bad, or I pivot. And so I made a list of everything that I knew I loved to do and that I knew I could help people with. And then I made a list of all of the places that I had connections to groups of people. So I almost launched a company that worked with local cities to help train their youth staff because I had done that in a couple of cities locally. I had a connection in a city that, and my dad works with the cities. He has a tree trimming business. I was like, oh, that's what I'll do. I'm so glad I did not do that because that would have been not the best choice. So what I decided to do is I also made a list of what changes are happening in the world right now, in the world of online marketing, like what's the new things that are happening. And Facebook Live had just come out. So I decided instead of teaching performers to have a business, I would teach business owners how to perform. And I launched a program called Camera Confidence, all about how to use Facebook Live. And it totally blew up. We did $50,000 in 3 months. I was like, okay, this is the way that I'm going to go. And that's actually the catalyst for all that we're doing with AI, because what I ended up doing over the years since 2016 is anytime there was a new technology, like when messenger bots came out, I love all that tech, but I also love the goofy performing human side of things. And so I found a way to blend the relationships and community with this tech stuff. And it's been so great for us, because what I do is I reach out to the founders of these tools. I build relationships. I ask if I can do a presentation bringing them to my community, or I can help liven things up for their community. And then every time we've done that, there's been a massive growth in our company. So in 2021, I did that with Jasper. Did you use Jasper back in the day?
Yeah, the blogging and other stuff is good of this.
Yeah. So it was called Jarvis, and
Yeah.
before they changed the name, and I reached out to Dave and I said, hey, I really love this tool. I would love to interview you for my community. And I think there is something magic when you have like actual human skill sets that a lot of people in this space don't really have. I think you are actually great at this, and I'd love to talk more about that. But I think there's something about just being kind and having the courage to talk to other humans that can make a really big difference. And so that started with Jasper, and then the rest is history. Like when ChatGPT came out, we had launched a content membership all focused on AI 2 years before ChatGPT came out. So we had a really good head start on most people who weren't even using AI at all.
So here I want to ask one question. I pick up your point. You write everything, all the things, right? And writing the things validate lots of stuff. Lots of people, entrepreneurs, everything is in their mind going on, and they think that they are not able to. So what's your take on this? Writing the things versus in my mind. What's your call on this?
Yeah, man. I think when you get things out and you can see them, here's one thing that I know a lot of people disagree with. I think that may be one of the only times in my life that I actually wrote things down on a piece of paper, because I have the worst handwriting ever. I used to do like journaling when I was in college. I did The Artist's Way. You know that book?
Yes.
Yeah, and I loved it, but I can't read anything that I wrote down in those journals. And so I do type more than I actually handwrite things, even though I know there's supposedly some kinesthetic thing. But everyone that is in the AI space is obsessed with whisper flow and like speaking your thoughts out loud. I actually find for myself that when I type, it forces me to slow down a little bit, because my thoughts go so fast that there is something really powerful for me when I am actually like, I think through my fingers. It's very weird, because I used to have major imposter syndrome around writing. I dated someone who was a writer. This is my best performing email. He broke up with me because he said I wasn't smart enough for him, which is really mean. And I think he just couldn't keep up with all of the magic that I had to put into the world. But it put so much like self-doubt in my head. And now I make way more money off of my writing than anything else, like not AI, like just what I actually write. So it's interesting how those moments like stifle us. But I find my arm was in a cast for 9 months. I don't know if you know this. I just am finally being able to move my wrist again. And I couldn't type for 9 months. And it was so incredibly debilitating. And everybody would say, just talk it out loud. I'm like, no, I need to type with both hands. So I'm feeling like a new sense of freedom, being able to write my thoughts out again.
So now you are mixing your music career with the presentation. That's the good blend. So like just I used to be a DJ like back in like 15 years back. Now what I started is I'm doing my presentation and there is a DJ controller over there. I blend the mix so that like I can let people like use the DJ consoles. Like I can use some sound effects in the presentation and let people added that. So like just like over here, if I show you my studio, like over here right now.
Oh my
So these
gosh,
are
get
the
out of town. Wait, so do you
and
live in New York?
No, I live in India, Chandigarh. I
That's what I
keep on
thought.
traveling for the events.
You bring that with you?
Yes, to break the
That is
pattern.
amazing.
Yeah. And everywhere I'm carrying it with me. Like I'm doing one event in like earlier in Miami, and then I'm going to Orlando, and then going to New York. So where I'm doing workshop, I'm just taking this. And last week in the Mexico also. So I did a different. So it breaks the pattern when I am on a controls, DJs and other stuff, and then we are presenting the stuff.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I should start bringing like tap shoes with me. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That is so
Whatever,
cool.
like
I love it.
it happened like I was like it how I this came to my idea because we love music. We all like from your vibes when we are doing at AI marketing world, we are dancing and
Mhm.
music has no language, like either it's
Oh
from
my gosh,
any
wait.
country.
Can we pause
Yeah.
on that for a moment? That is such
Yeah.
a good point, and I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Can I say something
Yes,
else really
yes,
quick?
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I was telling my
Yeah.
clients about you, and I was
Yeah.
saying, was telling them I was going to do this podcast with you. I
Yeah.
was very excited to tell you this because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't actually even know like what he does. I don't know. I've
Yeah.
never heard you share any, like from what I've seen, just everything going so fast. Bad is that I haven't gone deep into your content on the like
Yeah.
value side, but there have been these collections of moments that we've had that have put you into a place where I feel
Yeah.
like we know each other and we are friends, even though we've hardly had a conversation. And
Yeah.
it's moments from like at AI Marketing World, for those people who weren't
Yeah.
there was this awesome dance party that we had. So that like we've danced together at high level at the Level Up event. I like came up and just said hello and oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to you more. And I was like, yeah, I'd love that too. But that's literally all we really talked about, right?
No.
That's really all
Yeah.
we spoke about, but there was something in the way that you approached that conversation was so human and so giving and like joyful, as opposed to being like, I have things that I need to talk to you about and need to sell you, which a lot of people at the Level Up event approach with that other energy, and that makes you go, oh. So we had like very like small little connection moments, and I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome, just like regular humans. Then you win all these awards, so I'm like, oh, he must be doing something because he's winning these awards. So it's all these data points, right, that are like filling up. Then I see on social that you're at the Hermosi thing and that you've got all the, you're like top in that. So it's very interesting to me, like to step back and look at how these data points add up into something where it really does help you to develop those relationships to end up in a place like this, where now I'm going to share you with my community because all of those data points have added up.
Right. And that's really awesome because like I love your vibes. It's not about the work because everybody in the events goes like, hey, this is my card, yeah, do this. Everybody with the same intention that how I can get benefit from the other person. But
Yes.
the problem is they lost the relationship. Like and the relationship is like I know you like so I was like, okay. So Molly's like me and my wife was discussing. Molly was dancing on Bollywood numbers. She's from India. And then I do the perplexity in their part. Hey, Molly's from because sometimes like in our India also the Molly word is quite common. Like it's like California, but it's like music has no language, like no barrier. Like it's like a global
Yeah.
stuff. And then
I love
same
it.
happened with the Hermosi part. Like Hermosi tell like only 9 people will ask questions, do a podcast with him. And I was the last, and I even say that like it's a fortune for me. And all other 8 ask Hermosi, I want to grow my business, how I get to this point, how I get to this point. And if you read Hermosi's books, if you, like I have all the playbooks, if you implement, not read, implements, I believe on implementation, then you can always achieve. Then when like on the stage when I was at the podcast, I asked like Hermosi, we all did a brilliant job. It doesn't depend like I was the second or third. Even the third one did the same job, fifth, 10th, 15th. Everybody did an amazing job. But after high level, like after your launch of your book, 100 million money model, why our name was removed from the recording? And he was like, and his team was not like, I just submitted my question 10 minutes back. I saw that there was lots of controversial questions. So I said that they will not allow me. I didn't pick up their phone. I know that it's from Hermosi team. And I said like, I will push it over there. They said, you are the last one. You didn't go. And the second question was, like like how to scale the business, you have already have experience, but if I say why Hermosi don't choose to have kids.
I do remember I saw that.
Yeah, so these questions, and then I was in the subconscious mind of
Which I
Hermosi
did
and
see
on.
like the response about that too. I was like, oh,
Yeah. But
yeah.
what happened last week, Hermosi and Tony Robbins did a podcast. And Hermosi was saying like money doesn't give me happiness. But Tony recommended him, hey, you should have kids. It's my like
Mm.
suggestion to you. And now these dots coincide because on a dinner table, then we went to a dinner, like 7 people was at dinner table. We spent almost 2.5 hours. And I asked nothing about my business. I asked already about, I said, Harmozy, you were 10 marketers. They are the biggest marketer, 10 people in the same room, and you are generally different. Then he said he started using mine. Then in the mid of the conversation, he said, you need to delete that recording because he come up with the recorders and other stuff because there is lots of controversial take. Then he said, Nipun, please do not use my photograph because he was reluctant to take a photograph. He didn't take it with all the 50 marketer who did a job. Then he said, I'm taking a photograph. Please do not misuse it. Like people misuse my name, misuse my thing, and I will come to India and beat you up for the same. I said, in that case, you will at least come to India for the same. And from every part, I always say that Alex, like I did the affiliate part of him. I never say that I worked with him because people use that name.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's why we are different. And
Interesting.
that's how the relationship build. And it's all humans, like we all are humans, so we need not to worry about like what kind of question. And next part is like there's lots of bad side going on in your life, but you still on the cameras, you are energetic, you are positive, and all your presentation, I see the backstage also, hey, this is my dress, I'm going this. So as per the name, the prepared performer, how much time you prepared before the presentation?
Okay. And also, just to clarify what you just said, when you said the back behind the scenes, I see the dress and all of that. So I've started,
Yeah.
for people who don't know, I've started every time I speak, I do a video
Mm.
of what I'm going to wear. Initially, I really did have, and every so often, I really do have questions like, should I wear these shoes or these shoes? Should I wear this jacket or no jacket? Oftentimes now at this point, I know what I want to do, but giving that option for people to be a part of the process with me before I step on stage, to give them that little behind the scenes. And like my real goal with that is to bring the community with me. That's what he means by, for those people that are watching, by like seeing the dress behind the scenes. Like, so I've woven this idea of sparkle pants into my brand so much that I showed up to an event in non-sparkly pants once, and I had all of these people come up to me, where are the sparkle pants? Why aren't you wearing sparkle pants? So that like idea of weaving in your own style to part of this is really works super well. Okay. But to the question about how do I prepare? I have a very unique take on what it means to be a prepared performer. And in the beginning, I think you really need to give yourself the time to rehearse your material. And I will say, this is something I got from my husband, who's a professional musician. He says there is a big difference between practice and rehearsal. So when you practice, you are fumbling through things and you're practicing to try and see, like, can I get this to work? I'm not really sure. You practice so our school has a parent band that he is a part of, and there's all these jokes about how he's the professional musician in this band and everybody else is that. There's really awesome musicians in this, but they're more hobbyists. And he said, I just want to make sure before we meet for rehearsal that everyone has practiced at home. And then when you get to the rehearsal, we're actually rehearsing, which is where it's already pretty much set in stone. And then you are simply running through it to make sure that you get it in your body. Now, part of this is the fact that you can actually rehearse everywhere. It doesn't have to be that you're running through the entire presentation, let's say, which I think is a good idea in the beginning. And most people skip it. And I will say, I don't know if you follow Jeff Walker, but in 2020, he did his whole PLF launch inside a Facebook group. I don't know if you saw that, with no tech. It was basically just inside the Facebook group. And he hired me to run the whole thing. So I actually planned out their whole entire launch using his system, but in a Facebook group in 2020. And the thing that was the most amazing and surprising to me about it is that he did a full rehearsal of the presentation with his whole team. Most people don't do that. So like, when I do sometimes take on clients to work on their speaking. Dr. E, her name's Efrat Lamondre. She's amazing. Follow her on TikTok. She has 700,000 followers. She's so awesome. And she had never spoken on stage before. And I had her do her presentation in our community Facebook group just as a rehearsal. And it was so bad. It was like, she was like, oh, you can't use this anywhere, delete it. But you get through that because there's something different that happens to your body when you're actually doing this in front of other people. So that's the rehearsal piece. But guess what? We are here speaking right now. I talk about the quesadilla of awesome. I talk about, I tell the story of the McDonald's in Times Square. These are all little sets that I have that I know that I can pull from, and I can practice it at a coffee shop. I can practice it telling the story to my kids. I ran a program for Les Brown several years ago called Hungry to Speak. And his biggest tip is that speakers need to speak. Like, you should always be preparing to perform. And it's about living the preparation as opposed to being like, now I'm going to
Yeah.
prepare. Like, you are always preparing.
Right. And then it reminds me of my wife. She was like, me and my wife do business together. So he's my co-partner. And she was at some vacations with her friends. And I was like with a big beard. I said, like, I don't want to go outside. Okay, I'm working. I'm in my studio. And 4 5 days back, she went by. She's like, what's it like? I said, like, I don't want to go somewhere. So I was working. He said, act like, ready like every day is an event. You need to be that much serious. And then after that, like, it changed my whole life. So I'm always like, be always ready. And about the preparation part, like I was thinking, like if I get a chance for GHL India, because I belongs to India and keep on traveling to different countries, and first time GHL is doing, so I want to be a best speaker over there, topmost. And so if you are preparing, like I always prepare, now I have DJ sets also. I need to tweak at what time which music needs to be dropped and it needs to be
Yeah.
matched. Yeah. So for Mexico, I practiced 3 times, like recorded in a studio. And then we went over there in Mexico on the first day, like it was like a chill out day. We were me and one guy with me and Michael Reema's son. We three are at the event only. We are doing sound check and we did this whole presentation for 1 hour, so that tomorrow there should not be a tech glitch, there should not be a desk glitch. And
Yeah.
now for the Neil, like I get to know that Neil Patel is speaking at GHL India. So now I have written it down, like, so it's Neil Patel versus me. Like I want to be with, yeah.
Wait, so tell me about that. How did you tell me about that? I also just realized, by the way, I never put my earrings on. I'm going to put my earrings on right now. These make me feel more like me. They're just sitting in my desk. I never put them on. Wait, so tell me about, are you like actually doing a full comparison between you and Neil? Like you're
Yeah.
studying it or
I'm studying whole Neil, like how Neil present and how I can, and everybody's different. So I can't
yeah.
take your vibe. If I over the stage, if I start singing, I will not able to do it. So everybody's having a different talent. Neil is good in this. So I'm every day, like half an hour, 1 hour I spend, like how Neil, and even I call, like I'm just telling them, I call Neil Patel also. I can host a event because in New Delhi, it's a capital and I live 4 hours from there. I can host an event for you. For there will be 100 agencies, SEO agencies will be there because I keep on doing the events, and you can be a guest over here. Now it's still in the conversation, but still I'm reading it and I have written it down. Now it's not with like other speakers; it's now with Neil only.
Yeah.
Either I will learn, so I will not fail, so still I will be at that level. So I'm right now prepping, and now when I'm going back to India on 19th Feb, so in my studio my whole team will be there. I will be presenting same speech just to prepare everything, and I'm
That's
the
so
last one to
good.
close go high level, so I get to know about the schedule. So let's see how it works.
Another thing about that, which I think so many people don't understand, and doing work as a DJ, it's such a great translation, is that there is a build and a release when you are DJing, that if you don't have that sort of like tension that leads to something where everybody's like, yeah, and then it
Mhm.
restarts that kind of build, it doesn't work. And it's the same thing that I believe we have to do in our speaking, but also in our marketing in general. So I have a strategy that I teach around
Mm.
this called Whitney-ing. I don't know if you've heard this before, but
Yeah.
do you know Whitney Houston?
Yeah, I heard of Whitney Houston, but I didn't know about the story you were telling.
Okay, so Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, all these famous songs, but she has one
Yeah.
song in particular called I Have Nothing. Are you familiar with that song?
Mm.
Okay. So the way that this goes is at the beginning of the song, she starts off like this. You
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
through. So it's very breathy. It's very
Mm.
small. It makes you go like,
Mm.
oh. Whitney, what are
Yeah.
you saying? Like, I've got to listen
Yeah.
in, right? And that to me, if you're looking at a launch energy, that's like the sprinkling of like, hey, would you be interested in this kind of thing? Like little statements that you're dropping. Then she gets into this, I don't really need to look. And it gets more gritty in her voice. The rhythm starts picking up a little bit more. And that's where she's like,
Catch.
yeah, it's like, yo, I'm going to start. Maybe I have a podcast episode coming out. Would you want to hear it? And you're like, yeah, I think I would. And then she moves into the chorus where she's like, don't make me close one more door. Right. And when she gets to that part, you're like, yes, I'm here. So that's like a weekly video that she puts out, or a podcast episode where you're like really bought in and you're fully listening. But then at the end of that, she goes, if I don't have you, and she gets breathy again. And then you hear the music go, don't, and then she starts the verse again, and it's a little bit more like gritty, right? So whatever the words are, take my life. I think I may have missed the lyrics up. Doesn't matter. But she's really like grittier there. And now you're more bought in. So this is like your nurture campaign as people are starting to get closer and closer to understanding what it is that you do. Then she finally gets to the point where she's singing the chorus and it's like so awesome. And then because she's like, don't make me close one more door, right? But then she goes, don't make me close one more door. And she brings in that key change. And when she makes the key change, that is when she's making the offer. And you're like, oh my gosh, take all my money. You throw your credit cards at her face. And you're like, the cart is open. Everything is amazing. Then everybody's buying, right? But then at the end of that big, like belting her face off, at the end, she does, if I don't have you. And then she goes, and that's like, the card is closing. And then she goes, if I don't have you. And that's like, the bonuses are expiring. And then she's like, the card is closed, right? And then you can't buy anymore. And you have to go through the whole process again to get excited and be able to want to buy again. And I think that's the way everything needs to be done. But you can't actually experience that energy unless you do it. Like you can map it out on paper. You know, when you're adding in the music and you're adding in all of this, there's a feeling that goes along with it that you're not going to know whether or not it really lands unless you actually do it.
Right. And I always listen to, like, whenever I go outside, I see people are vibing on which song. Because I know my countries, I listen to like EDM kind of stuff. So what happened on day two, I was also presenting. Now people have expectation on day one. This guy did the DJ and other stuff. And day two, what he will do. And people have more expectation. And the day one, we were vibing at a club. And I was enjoying the music, but I was checking at which song people are dancing more. People are getting hyped. So it was again like Gasolina. So I was saying, okay, so they are liking Gasolina a lot. So I started my like presentation with Gasolina, so to pump up the crowd and break the pattern. And
dude, that's another thing that Les Brown talks about, which is listening to the listener. Like you've got to pay attention to what they're doing and notice how the audience is responding. And that's, he says like he'll be at a coffee shop and just start randomly talking to the person in line behind him and to see which jokes land. It's like being a stand-up comedian or an improv actor, right? Like you've got to be able to, it's not only a conversation with you and the energy between the music that you're putting out, it's also between you and the audience and what's happening and what you're getting back from them. I love that.
right. And that's why my friend was saying, what you are exactly doing? I say, I am working on my presentation. You don't know over here.
I love it.
And you talk about the GPT stuff. Like, I just want to like, and you are famous with the GPTs. Every day you are rolling out with GPT. So I just want to know more about this.
Yeah. So this is actually an interesting thing. And while we're talking so much about speaking, I'd love to know your take on this. So for those people who are listening, just in case there's anyone who doesn't know what a GPT is because you've been living under a rock, or maybe you're just not like super into AI yet, it's a way inside a paid ChatGPT account. So for $20 a month, you can actually get access to build out these individual AI tools. They are amazing for segmenting your processes. You can have different voices. You could create a GPT that sounds like Nipun, and then you've got him as as an advisor in your ChatGPT. It's not as good as the real thing, obviously, but you can build out these different AI assistants. And for me, I know that that's really the starting point for a lot of people, which then unlocks the ability for them to understand how to use these tools. So then they can move into something like maybe using MindPal, which allows you to bring out multiple different agents that have access to other tools so they can actually go do things and stack them on top of each other and have them work together without you. Then you can move to something like N8N where you're building out major complicated things. Then you can move even into the high level agent studio. You can also do things with like all of the craziness with Claudebot / Moltbot / OpenClaw, whatever, where the robots actually take over your life and it's super scary. But I love to start so that everyone is on the same page with how we do this with GPTs. Did you hear what happened to me at the Level Up event with this? Okay. This lovely human who was another speaker at the event took a picture of me on stage with the thing that said GPTs on the back. That's all it said was custom GPTs. And she posted in her stories, and she now has it in her highlights still. And it says, like, really, we're going to be talking about custom GPTs. This is so basic. Haven't we moved beyond this now? Like saying that I am a basic bee and that people shouldn't listen to me because I am not advanced. So I just want to clarify that I am here to help all humans, get us all on the same page, and then move us up from there. But when you speak at an event, like if you're an AI expert and you ask the room how many of the people in the room have actually created a custom GPT, usually 50% of the room has not done it. And so I want to get everybody on the same page. So that's my first little like soapbox around custom GPTs. Second of all, they are amazing for lead generation. All I do is I say, like, my secret script is, OMG, I just created an AI tool that XYZ, do you want it? And then I get hundreds of people commenting below, and then I use an automation to reply back to them, and I get them on my email list because they opt in. And when they opt in, it's so easy. I just send them the GPT, like so easy. Sometimes I do it where I will charge for it. So I charge like $7 for a GPT, or, $27 to $97 for a GPT that has a video training with it. It is so easy. And I don't know, I'm sure you are, but are you doing GPT stacking?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah. So I'm like consistently blown away that people don't know how to do this, where you use the @ symbol, and then that will allow you to bring different GPTs into one conversation. It's like the easiest thing ever, but people don't know that it's possible. And so when I share that at events, I mean, I've been sharing that for probably 4 years now, and people are like, what? Like their mind is completely blown. So I love GPTs. I also created a GPT generator that you answer a few questions and then it spits out, I call it the source prompt, which is the instructions that goes into the backside of ChatGPT. And it spits out this awesome prompt, which then that prompt you can put into a custom GPT. You can also take that prompt and put it into Gemini and make a gem, which is the Gemini version of that. You can put it into Claude. You can use it in your own AI tool if you've got that, whatever. But it just gives you a really great starting source foundation. And then you can add more knowledge to that. So when we talked about the quesadilla of awesome earlier, I add in the things that make me weird. I have saved all of my content since 2018. I have that added in. So by adding all of this stuff into these tools, it really makes it so that our AI has soul. Like it gives it its own unique magic underneath it.
Right. And like we talk about that GPT part, sometimes people think that, okay, it's a basic one, but 70% people are struggling with the AI tools. They have a AI FOMO, and they said somebody's talking about Clawbot, somebody's talking about GPT, somebody's talking about Perplexity. And when I ask them, like, are you able to implement a single stuff in your business or it is helping you out? Then said no, because we are just talking about. So GPT is the best one. I will give you the live example. Like, so we are talking and you are the level up speaker. So you are the amazing speaker. And generally what people do is people attend 4-5 speakers and they network at the events. And there is a FOMO in their mind, what's going on inside. So I tell my team, hey, you need to open up the notes app in your phone and start the recording. That's the only thing. or I just put it in my bag and it will be over there. And after 3 days, 4 days of an event, when event is over, then people think that, okay, what was my takeaways apart from networking, apart from card exchange? What we did is I created a whole custom GPT of level up event. Just like I want to share it on a screen, and we ask what Molly teaches us or anything about you also. So this is like level up
Oh, I love it.
GHL. TAKs from GHL, and what, let's try what Molly.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Okay, I have my
No,
screen.
yeah.
My screen is on a teleprompter right now, and I can't see that. I've got to move it where I can
Okay,
see
okay,
it.
no worries. Funnel should feel human. Actionable steps inside go high level only. Problem,
Oh,
promise, everything it starts with. And now what I did is after the event, I know like I have lots of contacts. I just mail them. If you want it, you can get it in $7. That's my
hey, I
limit. And
love it. Seriously, and
the
it's
reason,
so easy, and then it's accessible for them too. Like, I don't know if you saw the post I did yesterday or 2 days ago,
yeah,
maybe was it yesterday, about the AI FOMO. We had this
yeah,
moment in my coaching program where one of our members, who I love, was like, Molly, why are you using base 44? You should be using Lovable. You should be using an 8N.
yeah,
And I was like, because base 44 is easy and I already started doing it. So, like, I am
yeah,
making so much money off of these base 44 apps.
right,
Why at this point in my life would I change to go learn a completely different tool? And I believe the frameworks underneath all of this are really the same across tools. Like, I have another client who loves Bolt. She was having a problem. I jumped on a call with her. I was able to help her because I
yeah.
understand the core structure of what these tools do.
And people just confuse it with results matter, tool doesn't matter. You need to see the output from which you are getting the output.
Can you just say that again?
Results matter, tool doesn't matter. Whatever you want to achieve.
It's so true. Yes.
Yeah.
Preach.
And I can give it free also, but the problem is people pays attention when they pays, and
Yeah.
then they only will take it seriously. Okay, these are the actual takeaways from the event. People who don't able to fly towards the Dallas and other stuff, they can also learn. But if they didn't pay the attention. They said like it's free, it's not worth. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I love it. I call those types of offers activation offers because
Yeah.
they are these like boosts of awesome that people are paying for, but they're also paying you to be a lead because now you
Yeah.
know these are the people who have bought from me. They're more likely to buy again.
Right. And it goes to the upsell funnel and other stuff.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's like
And
amazing.
now I want to talk about like you are from the music industry and your husband is musician. Now you talk about AI when you are conversing, or you talk about the music part. Which conversation goes?
I talk about
Yeah.
going on cruise ships. I'm just kidding. So, I mean, I do both. I will say, if I'm gonna, I've actually been noticing this recently because we just got a sauna in our backyard. I asked my husband
Yeah.
for a sauna for Christmas and he built me a
Yeah.
sauna and it is so awesome. And so the
Nice.
past 3 nights, my brother-in-law was staying with us and we did the sauna, and then I have a
Mm,
pool that is not heated
yeah.
right now, so we were doing like a cold plunge and then the sauna in the
Yeah. Yeah.
backyard. And I noticed that my default was to talk
Yeah.
about work stuff, and I was like, I need to not only talk about work stuff. My husband can usually handle it, but my brother-in-law doesn't really know all that much about
Mm,
what I do. So I was noticing that I default into talking about work stuff. But, musical theater and all of that is like my happy place. And sometimes I have to be careful on my own Instagram account because I'll find myself going into like rabbit holes of musical theater videos. And then I realize I'm
mm.
training the algorithm to think that I
About
am a musical theater account and I have to be careful. So I started a brand new account to stop myself from doing that. But I still have to be careful. So it's tricky when you're so like multifaceted. I mean, for the most part, I talk about Disney. I
yeah.
talk about humans and wanting humans to feel loved and respected because that is really important to me. And I believe there is a space
Mm,
for everyone at the table. So I talk about that a
yeah.
lot when I'm not, doing
Mm,
my content like as a human being. But I think it's really important that we have a list of things that have nothing to do with our
mm.
actual business so we can talk about other things.
And about the love part, what I see is things are meant to be used and people are meant to be loved. But the irony is people are using people and loving things these days.
Dude, that is a nugget. That's so true. And it's messed up. And I think even with my kids, I notice like our youngest son doesn't have a phone that is connected to like text messaging and not a phone number, but he has an old phone of mine that he can play games and stuff on. And I've noticed that he was like walking around the house on the holding it and doing other things while being on the phone. And I was like, what is actually happening? But I do that sometimes too. And so we are working on using like a cell phone jail to put our phones in. And I think the sauna has been helpful for that because we don't take the phone in there, give yourself those boundaries to get away from those things so that you're not loving the things and you're loving the humans. I love that.
Yeah, I have an 8-year-old son, so whenever he go out, he's a fond of playing cricket. He play cricket a lot, all those stuff. His attendance in the school is 35%, rest 65% goes to the academies and other stuff. So we need to take care of the stuff. We have that Apple Watch with him. So whenever he wants to call, so that he don't watch TV and other stuff. So really watch videos and other that he's not ready to phone. He wants to play this. And we have Apple Watch so that in case he wants to call us or everything, he's there.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
good idea.
yeah. And that
I
helps
should do that
them
because
like
when our older son started going to junior high, the school is really, he goes to a performing arts high school and it's a pretty big
yeah.
school compared to where he was before. And it's in an area that's kind of like a downtown area. So for picking him up, we really, it's very helpful to have him have a phone. But that's such a good idea to have them have an Apple Watch instead.
And here I just want to talk about the parenting part also. Now a musician and the AI geek. So it's a mixture. So what you want your parents, like your kids to be like, in which industry you should want them like they should go.
I mean, really, in my dream of dreams, I just want them to work for me and never leave our house and be with me for the rest of my life because I love them so much and they're so funny and they're so awesome. And I recognize as a human, I would love them to be independent thinkers and do what they love, right? So I'm
Yeah.
big about that. We give them opportunities to do that. That being said, like to be totally honest, if my kids all of a sudden decided they wanted to join a competitive sports team, I think I don't know what I would do because I don't understand how people like my kids are in musical theater. Frank now takes dance at school, which has been really great for him. Just from like a physical and coordination and that kind of standpoint. They did swimming lessons a lot for a long time. We have a new basketball hoop, which he loves playing in the backyard. My husband set up this golf thing in our backyard also that is really cool. It's called bucket golf. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you should look it
Yeah.
up because it is so fun.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I have other friends whose kids are in competitive sports, and I know that is an awesome path for a lot of people to go down. I just do not understand how the schedule for competitive sports work. I don't know how it is in India, but here they don't get the schedule until like the morning of sometimes because they don't know which games they've made. So like on Mother's Day, all of a sudden there's a baseball game and I'm like, how do you handle living your life that way? But if my kids wanted to, I would support them. I just may be like, oh my gosh, what is happening?
And the one thing I like about this is lots of people I see, like they who are the coaches, who always give advice, different advice to someone. And why, when they want to implement or doing it in their family, they are entirely different. So I love you tell that, okay, whatever you want, you are same. So that's what I love about you. Like, it's not about the work. In your work, you're already doing the brilliant stuff. But as a human being, you are same for everyone.
Thank
And the
you.
one thing which I liked about you is say that it doesn't matter who is sitting on my table. It's not like, okay, if Molly is over here and if somebody's over here, they can't sit with Molly. And hats off
Yeah.
for you for this thinking. I
Thank
love
you.
that.
One thing I'm really big about with that, and I had my friend and who was a client of ours also at the time, Melissa Lance, said this to me. We were on a call and I was talking about sometimes I'm at events or in rooms that some people are like, why are you here? These don't seem like they're actually your people. But I find that if I'm going to be super honest right now, is that okay?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So if I, as a like confident, strong, maybe kind of ballsy sometimes white woman, can get my foot in the door to places that maybe other people have a harder time getting their foot in. And I talk a lot about how I see in the AI space, there's not as much diversity in general, but it's not definitely not as many women as I feel like there really could be. If I can take my big sparkly boot and get myself in the door, then I'm really cracking that room open to bring more diverse conversations to the table. And I said this on a call, like, I'm taking a seat at the table and I'm bringing you guys with me. And my awesome friend Melissa Lance said, Molly, I just want to say something right now. She said, you're creating your own table. So I just hope you recognize that, like, you are creating the space for people to be sitting at. And it's so important to me for people to feel that they belong, because when I first started in the internet marketing space, there were a couple of moments, one especially from actually two women who really made me feel so small and put like all this shame energy out. And I never want to do that to someone. And I know I'm not perfect with it. I know that it doesn't always work out the way that I want to, but I really do want to make sure everyone sees that they are seen, they have an opportunity to belong, just because they are a human.
And sometimes the biggest disappointment you will get it from your family and friends whom you are expecting, and the first sale you get it from a stranger.
Yeah, wild, right? And I think the high level community, like Kelsey at High Level and I have had so many conversations about this over the years. I think the high level community does such a great job to try and really make sure that there is space for everyone. And I'm super grateful for it. So it's awesome.
Right. And that's what I'm covering in my GHL India, like how the GHL community is taking. The one guy from India flew to the Dallas and other stuff. I was the only Indian over there. And that's how I'm just telling my story.
So cool. I love it. Really
And
awesome.
even that you talk about that part, like the sauna, swimming, ice bath. I put my all AI avatars over there. So now I have every avatar which is putting up on a social media. That's not really me. It's the AI avatar of
Oh my
mine who is
gosh.
rolling out of it.
Okay, I have seen it, obviously. So Anik and I are really good friends. I have super funny stories about Anik, but I have seen in that Make My Clone group, you are like rocking it with your clone. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Actually, and that, I don't know if you know about our pretend cruises, but in 2020, I had a Disney cruise that was canceled and I was super bummed about it. And I decided, you know what? I don't need a cruise ship to go on a cruise. I'm going to just go on a cruise in my own backyard. And I love tiki mugs. So I had this tiki mug collection. And I would just post pictures in my backyard, I'm in Southern California, so it's kind of tropical. And I would post pictures with my tiki mug and be like, I'm on a pretend cruise. So I was making my own like AI. It was my actual human, but I was faking the cruise ship before AI was a thing. And I had people say, I want to go on a pretend cruise with you. So I think I actually now should create an actual AI cruise where anyone who wants to go will just take their images and put them on our cruise ship. And we can do a virtual pretend cruise also.
Amazing.
I love it. But we sell them. I don't know if you know that. Like, we actually sell pretend cruises in my backyard now, which is really fun and awesome. And you should come to one.
Sure, definitely. I will love to join. One thing which, like, the learning you can give or the tip you can give to the people who are starting out in the AI space and the one who are already at a stage they want to scale it to the next level.
Okay, double down on your personal brand. I think we are at a point where there is so much AI content coming out at people. If you can figure out what makes you unique and different as a human and really start putting that content out around who you are as a human, that is your, like they say, your moat. That is the thing that will help you as the AI apocalypse is happening, right? So in the AI space, people still want to work with humans to help build out their AI tools. That is your differentiator. Double down on your personal brand.
Amazing.
Talk to humans.
And let AI do the work.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, let it be the support system for you and your creativity, because literally anything is possible.
And that's remind me the cruise part. I was doing a 5 day AI challenge. And then after that, I was flying to Vietnam and I was going at a cruise for like almost 20-25 days. I said, there will be no internet, nothing. And I'm doing a 5 day challenge where AI will do that work. And that's how I did a challenge. And this was the
Get out of
cruise.
town. Oh my
So
gosh,
I
will
did
you
like
send me that? I want to see. That's so good.
yeah.
See, all these like
And
weird things I knew. I don't know how I knew, but I knew we had all these weird things in common.
yeah. And I built my avatar over there also. So it was like 10 years back because there was a story like 10 years back, me and my wife like were at this in Venice. This place is Venice. And we were at a cruise from London to Belgium. And what happened in this tenure only, it was like a 1 day tour. When I stepped down, I lost my two high ticket clients. They were saying, Nipun, you are not responding. And it was
Oh,
like 10 years
shoot.
back. And then I said, what happened? Like, I doesn't respond for 8 hours, like 8 to 10 hours. Why they just left? And I just lost my two high ticket clients. Then I said, like, okay, that was without AI era. Now I'm doing a 5 day challenge where I'm integrating bots, everything work like this, call my
Dude,
voice clone,
I love
everything.
it.
And then you can join that challenge. And then I went to that Vietnam with my wife and my kid, and then we just chill out for some days, and it
Man, I
works
love it.
perfectly
That's
well.
so cool. So good.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time for joining this and lovely. And I'm putting those GPT in the comments, people who are watching this. It's not everything about like, it's about vibes. First, whatever whom's your, it's your business partner, it's your family, like if you've been to get married. I think the vibes needs to be matched first. Rest, everything can be sorted out after that. And if everything goes good in Molly's life, then Molly will not be here to tell those stories. Molly will never remember McDonald's. There is almost millions of McDonald's in the world, but she only remembers because there is a story behind that. And
Yeah,
thank you
it's so
so much
true.
for yeah.
Thank you so much. And just if you're here and we've never connected before, I'd love to connect on Facebook. I'm on my Facebook personal profile, Molly Mahoney. On Instagram, Molly Mahoney Official is my personal Instagram. And yeah, I'm just excited. And I know you guys, I have this link that you'll put out there somewhere, which will help you to create your own GPTs. If you go to molly.live/Nipun, Nipun, that will take you right to it. I'm so grateful for this
Okay.
time to be able to hang out.
Thank you.